Hey guys, I just thought I'd do something here where, since there's going to be no patch notes over the weekend as the team are taking a break, I thought I'd just take a look at a kind of an interesting team comp that I quite like. Hopefully this will be part of a slightly bigger series that will be something like, I think I'll just call it something different, just to kind of show off either just something that's underutilized or not really particularly in the meta, but still pretty interesting or fun to play, or something that I just have a personal preference for, which is kind of this what kind of comes into a little bit. So yeah, we'll just go straight through it now. So this time, look at kind of a Void Sorcerer kind of comp, utilizing some of the big picks in the meta at the moment, while also using an underutilized Origin, one of my favorites, Void. Go straight into it then. At the beginning, level first pick in the carousel when you're just loading into the game. I always like to pick up the rek'sai if it is possible to get up. Yes, she is pretty bad later on, and usually one of the first things that I end up selling after a first couple of rounds of the game. But like if you can get the rek'sai plus an early kha'zix and Caston, which is usually pretty easy to get, you immediately get that void buff of all basic attacks ignoring 50% of the enemy's armor, which is actually super nice in the early game. And then it's basically just to secure that buff until you get around to the cho'gath. Now you don't have to keep the rek'sai all the way to the cho'gath because sometimes cho'gaths could appear a bit later. But once you're starting to build up a relatively like a 4 or 5 man team, then you can definitely sell the rek'sai and just get rid of her, because then by that point she's just fallen off a cliff and it's really not worth keeping. So yeah, the Caston and the kha'zix together with the rek'sai early, get you that void buff. Sometimes you want to stack the Caston, sometimes you don't. I have a thing. It's mainly whether I get the Caston's level 3. So I always keep a level 2 Caston on, and then obviously slowly building up my Castons on the bench. But if it gets to a point in the game where you're at that five leading into 6 man roster on the board, and you're just not getting the Castons out, sell the ones on your bench, because you're going to get the money back for it. You're not going to lose out on any gold with it because he's a 1 cost, and the level 2 is still worth 3. So you're not actually losing any money like with some other like I think 2 costs. A level 2 2 cost is worth 4, so you are like losing out on some money there. So yeah, just sell them all and then just focus on items on your other champions. But if you can get the level 3 caster now, I do like to have kind of a interesting combination of like a Warmog's Rapid Fire and a Rage Blade. It just keeps them alive so much longer. Yes, you kind of also want to be stacking, as we'll talk about later, the Aurelian Soul, but I still quite like stacking the Caston if you get out to that level 3. But if you don't, it's perfectly fine. Just keep that level 2 Caston on the board, sell the rest, and then focus your efforts on other champions. But yeah, moving on. Kha'Zix, I do really think Kha'Zix is massively underrated. I think he's actually the best early game level 1. Now, saying that, there are other level 1s that are much better in terms of their synergies with other their origins or their classes. But on a straight damage level, and especially in the early game, Kha'Zix really is just the best level 1 cost unit in the game. Sometimes if I don't get the whole team, like if you can't get Karthus because it's pretty rare, or you're having you only have like a level 1 Gnar or level 1 cho'gath or so on and so forth, I don't mind having a second level 2 Kha'Zix. I do actually think 2 level 2 Kha'Zixes is much better than a level 3 Kha'Zix. Now, again, some people will say, well, obviously, if you make the level 3, then you can have like a level 2 Draven or a level 2 something else, like a high damage dealer in there with him. And surely that is better. And yes, of course it is. Overall, that is better. But if I'm specifically aiming for this team comp that we've got here, then like unless you're getting like changing those 2 level 2 Kha'Zixes and making it to a level 3 to get like a level 2 Aurelian Soul or a level 2 Cho'gath, someone that's actually vital to the team, you might as well keep out those those 2 level 2 Kha'Zixes. And then continuing on with the comp, then you want to then start building up your sorcerers, getting that nice sorcerer 6 bonus at the end with the 100% spell damage. Pretty powerful combination at the moment. Now you may notice in this that we don't actually have 6 sorcerers, but that's okay. That's why, because we're aiming to get the Yumi item to plant on either the Gnar or the cho'gath. or one of your kha'zixes. If you are, especially if you're using the 2 level 2 kha'zixes, then obviously keeping one of them with that Yumi passive is probably quite nice, so you can get your 6 sorcerer buff. But yeah, also, and then as you notice as well, we're also building up a couple of Yordles. So we have the Lulu and the Vega and the Na, but getting that 3 Yordle buff. It's not necessary, but I am already putting in the Lulu and the Na, so you might as well go for that Vega since we are doing a sorcerer comp. Get that 3 to get, was it 20% of enemy attacks to potentially miss. If you're not like finding the Vega, or you end up having to not use a Na comp, then obviously you don't have to use a Vega. You can use any other sorcerer like a Morgana or an Ari or just something else, as long as you get that sorcerer in there. But he is mainly in there just for that extra Yordle buff. Then onto the 4 costs, obviously, Aurelion Sol and Na have been right high up in the picks for quite a while. Cho'gath just coming in recently because of that big buff he got in the last patch. So yeah, just some solid, either Void for Cho'gath or Sorcerer for Aurelion Sol and Yordle for Na. Just getting some of those big boys that gets those bonuses in there. Plus, what I quite like about this composition is that it actually has quite a bit of disruption. Like, we have the knockback from Na, we have the knock up from Cho'gath, especially that's quite big. We have the knockback of the Lula Wall if it gets played, if enemies are right next to the allies that get knocked up. Obviously, they get a bit they get displaced a bit. So yeah, just I don't know. I really like the idea of this comp. It utilizes Void, which, as I said, I think is one of the most underutilized origins. And yeah, it's been quite fun to play actually. So yeah, just have a go. See what you think about it. Thanks for watching.